Okay, for this video, we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions. We're going to start with just adding and subtracting fractions with common denominators. The main thing you need when adding or subtracting fractions is you need the denominators or the bottom numbers to be the same. If the bottom numbers are the same, because it helps if I get my pen to work first. If the bottom numbers are the same, then it stays whatever it is. In this case, it's 14 because I have 10 over 14 plus 8 over 14. So the denominator stays 14, and I'm just adding the numerator, 10 plus 8. So 10 plus 8 is 18 over 14. And notice it says to simplify your answer, which means I'm just going to reduce. Simplify your answer just means to reduce to lowest terms. So what goes into 18 and into 14? 2. 2 goes into 18, 2 goes into 14. So 2 goes into 18 9 times, 2 goes into 14 7 times. That's simple. We've been doing some of this for a while now. All right, and let's look at this one. 9/13 minus 7/13. The difference between the first two, other than the numbers, is that the first one was addition, this one's subtraction. But the process is still the same. I want to make sure that my denominators are the same. Not 12, Karen. It's 13. So then I'm just going to subtract my numerators. So 9 minus 7 is 2 over 13. And then I always want to double check. Does it reduce? Does anything go into 2 and 13? No. That's it. So then my answer is 2 over 13. Now, what happens when we have a whole number minus a fraction? We always want to make our whole number a fraction, so we're going to put it over 1. And then I have to find a common denominator. In this case, it's real easy because I got a denominator of 1 here, a denominator of 11 there. So I want to get them both to have a denominator of 11. So 1 times what gives me 11? 11. And then whatever I multiply on bottom, I have to multiply on top. That just keeps it the same value, because if you look, 11 over 11 has the value of 1. So it just makes my numbers look different, but it gives them the same value. So 11 times 5 gives me 55. 11 times 1 is 11, and then minus 5 over 11. So now that I have the same denominator, I can subtract, or I have the same denominator, I'm going to keep the denominator. I'm going to subtract the numerators. So 55 minus 5 gives me 50 over 11. Now, again, want to check to see if it reduces. Nothing goes into 50 or 11, so that stays the same. Now, the only time I would write it as a mixed number was if my directions told me to write it as a mixed number. All right, I'm going to teach you a different process with these and what's common. I want to find a common denominator. I can do it 2 or 3 different ways. But the easiest way to me is what I call the butterfly method. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the denominator together, and I want to get 5 times 10, and then I'm going to cross multiply on the numerator. So I'm going to take the top left times the bottom right. So I have 2 times 10, still plus, and then I'm going to have the bottom left times the top right, 5 times 7. And if you'll notice, it kind of gives you a butterfly. Got to use your imagination. So to solve this out, 2 times 10 is 20, plus my 5 times 7 gives me 35. And then my denominator is 5 times 10, which is 50. Now, you don't always, and we didn't in this case, but you don't always have to get the smallest common denominator. In grade school, we're always taught to find the smallest common denominator. In this case, we don't have to. We can just find a common denominator, and then we reduce it at the end. So 20 plus 35 is 55 over 50. And then I'm going to look what goes into 55, what goes into 50. Well, to me it's obvious that 5 goes into both. So 55 divided by 5 is 11. 50 divided by 5 is 10. So if I had gotten the smallest common denominator, I would have gotten 10. But just because I got a common denominator, I still can reduce it down to 10. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the next one. Sometimes when you have bigger numbers, you might want to look and see if you can reduce anything. I know, let's don't even go there. Let's take that, forget I said that. Let's do the butterfly method again. We're going to multiply the denominators because I'm getting a common denominator. And then I'm going to cross. I'm doing the top right times the bottom left. So I have 39 times 30. And I get 1170. Should have wrote this out. I still want to get 1170, but let me go ahead and write this out like I wanted to. And then I've got 50 times 16. So plus 50 times 16. So 39 times 30 is 1170. 50 times 16 is 800. Wasn't thinking, should have had my green going already. Then 30 times 50 or 50 times 30 gives you 1500. Okay, so if I add those together, 1170 plus 800 gives me 1970 over 1500. Now, one thing we know that I can cancel for every zero I have on top, I can cancel a zero on bottom. And then I've got 197 over 150. And then I want to think, will anything go into this? You can play with your calculator with it, try and just cancel, or play with your numbers, but this is my lowest terms. Okay, let's look at the next one. Let's do one more with the butterfly method. So I have 1,000 and 100. Let's don't do the butterfly method on this one. Let's second thought. Because I know that I've got 3 zeros here, 2 zeros here. All I have to do is multiply this by 10 to get 3 zeros. So they're both 1,000. Whatever I multiply on bottom, I have to multiply on top, just like I did with the 5 and the 11. So I keep my first one, 321 over 1,000. And I'm going to subtract 4 times 10 is 40. 100 times 10 is 1,000. So 321 minus 40. To do that on my scratch paper, I get 281 over 1,000. Oops, one more zero. And I'm going to do some scratch paper here. Now 3 doesn't go into it. I knew 2 doesn't go into it. So that's going to be my answer. And that's an improper fraction. So I want to